Well, I'll start with telling you a little bit about my background. I also grew up in a small village in London called Bethnal Green. But I say that because it did feel like a really village lifestyle. I actually grew up right behind the Buddhist centre. I can see it from my mum's front door where she still lives. But actually, it's in my early memories, it's a blank. I grew up in a single parent family with a really, really loving, supporting mum and a beautiful multicultural East London. And although I was a lonely, I said when I was a kid I was a lonely child, that's what I thought it was, an only child. Actually, I felt like my life was filled with friendship, and I found it really easy to make friends and easy to make friends do things with me as well. So that sounds a bit suspicious, but I have a really fond memory in primary school of managing to convince 5 boys to do the Spice Girls routine in front of a school assembly. And I was scary, obviously. Childhood was happy. I grew up in a Christian family, and I believed in God at an early age. Well, I believed in something bigger, which I've come to see, but God was the only reference I had. Childhood was lovely and happy. I don't know my father, but interestingly enough, I'm thinking about getting in contact with him now, and that's been part of practice, but I might get there later. But childhood was lovely, happy, and teenager years awkward, as they are for most. And I always had curiosity in people. I just loved people, and I really just wanted to discover the world through other people. So I'd move into different situations, and I just love learning about other people's lives. And university was that for me. I went to uni, and I quickly became Mr. Fun. That was my nickname. And I just loved meeting people. But the dark side of that was uni was quite a tough time, because I was making friends, and I was really, really popular. And I remember going to university being so proud that I would just be out and be gay there. And then I was met with quite a lot of racism. Coming from London, that just wasn't much of my experience. I did experience it on the periphery, but never overt and never violently. And then I quickly realised that I didn't feel like I really belonged, and I desperately just wanted to belong. So I just kept making friends, and just kept going out and not having friends that would really understand my experience. It wasn't a very diverse uni. I went to Liverpool. I studied sociology, again, very interested in people, and moved to London, had no idea what I was going to do, and I took the Mr. Fun moniker a bit too far. Partied a lot, and partied until it wasn't really fun, and that continued for a long time, until it really started to affect my mental health. Don't really need to go too far into it, you know how it goes. But I did stop. I went travelling to go find myself, and I didn't find myself. My mind came with me, and I went to South America, but I did glimpse a different way of living, and I did make friends wherever I went, and saw that generosity existed no matter how much people had, and that really inspired me. And then, I stopped drinking, and really just used all of that energy that I used to waste, and put it into kind of fixing myself. I worked out, I got a personal trainer, I started using meditation apps, and I put that energy into a career. I always had some dream that I wanted to be a high-flying exec. I don't know where I got it from, maybe some trashy rom-coms I used to watch. But I got that. I got a job. After a few different careers, working in many different industries, from architecture, interior design, I got a job at a startup firm, a US-based startup firm, and I got showered with autonomy. I made really good friends, and I got paid really well. And I got to travel with my job all over Europe, and I was living the jet set lifestyle, luxury holidays. The one thing that was missing is I didn't have a partner. But then I found one, so I found love too. And I thought, that's it, I should be happy. And yet, something wasn't right. It felt like something was just lacking, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And I just didn't know where to look. So I did start meditating a bit more than that. I just knew that I could work with my mind and something might change. And I'd be around friends asking if they still would like question what was going on with life, and would be met with, no, just shut up. And then the pandemic happened. And the world stopped. And I was able to practice every morning. And suddenly these burning questions I had about how I wanted to live my life, I couldn't run away from. I remember screaming on my balcony with my housemates, like, what are we doing this for? And then being like, he's lost his mind. So fast forward, end of pandemic, we know how that goes, we lived through that. I couldn't ignore these questions. They'd come up, and they were just coming to the surface. And I just thought, okay, I'm in a good job, I'm making money, I can support my mom, I can give her money. Like, this is what I should be doing. Like, and then I realized this wasn't my dream. That wasn't clear to me. It's a dream that I kind of picked up. That, okay, we have to be successful, we have to make money, and that's what we've got to do. So I went to the LBC. I moved back home. I had a bit of a dodgy relationship with my housemates. I moved back home, and I was back in Bethnal Green. And I was like, I need to go to the Buddhist Centre. I'd been using Headspace a lot, and he'd been mentioning often about Buddhist teachings or his Buddhist practice. And I thought, okay, I need to go to the centre, and I know where one is. Maybe 3 or 4 times of going to the Buddhist Centre, I kept arriving at the wrong time. So it starts at 10:30 on the Saturday, and I kept arriving at 10. And then I was met with a really warm smile the 3rd time I did that. And someone said, I think you just need to come in and join the team. So I'm sitting there around this circle of Buddhists who I don't know, I expected to be very stoic, very detached from their emotions. And yet I was in this group of people that had a real awareness of what was going on for them. And again, a real sense of warmth. And I started to feel like, oh, I think I can belong here. And I just kept going. I just kept going again and again, and felt like I was coming home. You often hear people say they feel like they've come home when they start coming to the centre. For me, that was quite literal, because I was back home. But there was something where I was practicing alone, and then the quality of practicing with people that I actually started to see that they had some sort of quality, that they were just being around them, I felt better. I felt seen. I felt I could share my experience. And then I went on my first retreat, and it blew my mind. I was ready. I was receptive. And I had this meditation experience where I brought my mum into stage 4. And we had a good relationship, but somehow I'd got it all wrong, and I was blaming her for stuff that wasn't her fault. And I won't go into details about the meditation experience, but basically it wasn't her that I was upset with, it was myself. And I had visions of all parts of me at different ages. And I remember coming back off that retreat, feeling so open and connected, and coming home and feeling like I saw her for the first time. I saw the person, I didn't see my mum. I saw this wonderful person who is just loves, and it just all eroded. And as I practiced, loads of stuff just started happening. I started seeing how my response to this external world I'd had taken internal. I'd put these labels of being gay or being black or being fat and all of that, because I was quite overweight as a teenager, I left that a bit out. But I'd brought them in. I'd created this glass ceiling for myself that stopped me from seeing the world properly. I really wanted to feel free, and yet I was creating my own cage that I couldn't get out of. I was limiting myself by holding so tightly to these labels, so tightly to the experiences that were happening to me externally, and then I'd internalised them, and practice had made me see that. And at the same time, I realised I was trying to fix myself, and there was nothing to fix. I wasn't broken. We aren't broken. And we've never been broken. And I think that the world that we live in tells us that that's the case. That we need to look outside to find these things. And the real freedom is inside, and it's in the Sangha. Well, that's where I found it. And after going on retreats and going back, I couldn't go back to my job. It just felt small. This big job just felt tiny. It felt like another cage that I'd created. So I quit my job. And I got a job in a cafe run by the Buddhist Centre in Bethnal Green. So I'd come back to my village. And yet this village had become this huge world. I'd seen people that had treaded this path. I'd connected to people that I could look up to, and realised that I wasn't the most important thing in the world, and my experience wasn't the most important thing in the world. There was so much more than just what I'm going through. And often I had this view that it was all me at the centre, and that needed to die, and it's still dying, because it's really easy for me to cling back to that. And then working in the cafe, it sounds like it should be weird, but like a small thing, but I'm working with practitioners, people that are practicing, people that share my ethical values, people that I can look up to. Abhay Nandi was there in the cafe with me. And to work with someone that has that heart and compassion every day and has devoted 10 years of their life to this and setting up businesses was inspiring. And I get to work in this beautiful cafe with friends, where friends come in each day around the Sangha. And I really can see that effect it has on people. My mum comes into the cafe regularly. She even was trying to help us pack the retreat van before we left. And I've now also moved into the Buddhist Centre. So I can see my front door from the kitchen that I live in community. And I won't say it feels like a full circle moment, because I don't feel like I've come back to the start. I feel like I'm seeing it all different, way more bigger, with a bigger heart, and way less about me and more about what I can do to help. I was really moved with what Amy Lurleen said about life as an offering. And really, I can see that that's how I want to live my life. I want to live my life around these three jewels. And I've seen how the effect it has on people on this retreat, just in my group. I do believe that this can really, really, truly offer freedom to people. And there's more that connects us than separates us. I believe that with every fibre of my being, and that comes from the Dharma. That's not my belief. There's something that one of the teachers, Bhante Sagaraja, uses to also talk about these three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. And live united, cherish the doctrine, and radiate love. And that's what this does for me. Thank you.